Professional MMA fighter, y'all. He beats out. He really does. You got to see his profile. He's like, and a firefighter. That is not something to take lightly. So let's.
I'm in the big leagues, told him don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues. Told him that I gotta go, dawg. I'm riding the road, y'all. I think that I'm back in my bag now. So I need that go, y'all. Got hits when he throwing the fastball. Just too quick for it, peeling off like the whip orange. Seen they effort, this piss poor. I got too much, I gotta tend to. Car payments and the rent due. Told y'all that I'm 6 foot, but with the money stabbing, I'm 10-2. Too much that I've been through, so I put it all in that rear view. Clean money in a black whip, got old problems with the friends new. Yeah, I'm in the big leagues, told him don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. Yeah, I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, told him I'ma hit it out the stands. I deserve another 100 bands. I deserve another 100 fans. Told them this was always in the plans. I just did it cause they said I can. Blowing euros when I'm down in France. Labels asking how I build a brand. Told them put a check up in my hands. Boy got time, no cap. Made a few checks, but they all in the raps.
Alright you guys, hey, we are here with In The Mix With Mel, and guess what? We got a professional fighter in the building. He'll beat your ass. No, I'm kidding. He's very, very nice. He's a cool dude, y'all. He's a very cool dude. His name is Mr. Lathon Lawson. I'm gonna call you Double L. No, that sounds really corny.
See, that's the problem with me.
Really cool.
You can't think of a cool nickname for me.
Double L,
like,
LL.
It just don't sound cool. It don't sound cool at all.
L
People try.
LL
That
Lawson.
Mm-hmm.
The Law.
Nope.
No. The Law.
Some people do call me Law.
Okay, that's a good one. I like Law. Okay, okay. Law. Okay, bro. Well, let's call him Lathon because that's actually his actual name, y'all. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So tell us about yourself, Mr. Lathon.
All right, my name is Lathon Lawson. I'm from Warner Robins, Georgia. I love Warner Robins. I'm actually a firefighter for the city of Warner Robins. That's how much I love it. I love my community. I'm also a professional fighter / professional coach. I transitioned into that late last year, kind of really made that hard transition into professional coaching. So that's kind of where I'm at right now as far as my life and stuff like that and what I like to do.
He summarized it so eloquently in like a 3-second spiel when you've done a lot. He's a professional MMA fighter, y'all. He beats out. He really does. You got to see his profile. He's like, and a firefighter. That is not something to take lightly. Yeah. So let's talk about you fighting. So what made you want to get into fighting? Because that is again, we talked about it earlier before this. Basketball is great, right, y'all? Football is great. But when it comes to using fighting as a sport, that's a whole nother level because you're fighting somebody, you could get hurt. Whereas basketball, you can get hurt, but that's not the intention. Their intention is to hurt somebody.
Exactly. Well, so kind of hitting off of that is the reason I got into fighting is because I didn't want to get hurt. I was afraid. I had a lot of anxiety as a kid and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of my actions come from past trauma, if you will.
No, I understand. So I know other fighters, and that's the reason why they got into the first place.
Yeah. So insecurity and anxiety was the reason I got into fighting. I was always nervous that somebody would hurt me or beat me up.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, growing up as a kid, I always felt like somebody was gonna hurt me, but I never got bullied or nothing like that. I just kind of, I guess, made it up, but I was just still aware of the danger.
No, I understand that. No, I 1,000% understand that. That's why a lot of people want to learn self-defense just in case.
Yes.
I feel like when, even as a woman, because I carry a firearm, y'all. I carry a
I
firearm, and so I feel safer going places. I've never been approached in that way. I've never had to use it, but when you do you have that protection, you could walk in somewhere where you're and no one really messes with you because you walk in with your chest puffed out.
One of my coaches says this. He says, you owe it to yourself to be as trained as possible. Mm-hmm. He's talking about from the self-defense standpoint as far as martial arts in general. You owe it to yourself to be as trained as possible because at any moment, at any time of the day, somebody can approach you. And if you're not ready for that situation, you're not trained for it, it's going to go bad.
Yes.
But I said, that's what got me into fighting. I had to prepare myself mentally and physically for the real world, and once I saw my first UFC fight, I was hooked. I was like, oh, this is what I want to do with my life.
Really?
I was in the 9th grade of high school.
You're okay.
I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. and I saw fighting, and I was like, man, that's it right there. So I joined the wrestling team.
Really?
Yeah, joined the wrestling team in high school. I never played like sports or anything like that, like organized sports. The only thing I did was wrestle in high school. But I joined the wrestling team because I knew that was going to launch me into fighting. It was going to give me a solid background. Yeah, so I was playing the long game. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of prepping and taking the proper steps.
That young, playing the long game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was doing that, and wrestling was a good experience for me. I wasn't very good at it. While I was in high school, I wasn't very good at it. I got way better after high school for some reason.
Right.
But it was weird. But
probably just have to physically develop more.
Yeah. I think that was what it was. Like mentally and physically, I just developed a little bit more, and it became better for me.
Yeah.
So, but then I went on to coach wrestling after high school. I coached. Yeah, I got certified under GHSA. I coached for like 7 seasons, I believe. So about 7 years of coaching high school wrestling. It was a great experience, but I never want to do it again.
Why don't you want to do it again?
And kids are rough, man. Like
these generation. No, I feel you on that. That's why y'all know Mr. Dante Hancock. Y'all, we got an impromptu little kid coming in. He needs help.
I'll be right back.
Y'all, we're gonna get back into it. We have a kid who needs assistance getting this.
Yeah, there you go, man.
And back to our regular schedule program.
I'm just saving the day.
It's okay.
Just doing my civil duties.
Right.
That's it.
It's okay. That little kid, come here, I need help. Okay, speaking of, that was a good kid, but there's a lot of bad kids, y'all.
Exactly.
There's a lot of bad kids out there, and I understand this as a grown adult, me seeing this new generation. Oh, you see them put stuff on Facebook of what they do in high school, these teachers. I'm like, oh my God, my mama would have whooped my ass if that was me. But
the problem is the respect level and the understanding. Like, this is what I feel like, right? Because like when we were younger, you know, our like adults and stuff like that would say, oh, you know, y'all got it good. Yeah, it used to be hard back in the day, so and so. Y'all got the internet and stuff like that, but we really didn't have as much access to the internet as they do today because of cell phones, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like growing up, I didn't get my own like cell phone. Me and my sister shared one for a while.
Yeah.
But I didn't get my own cell phone until I was in like 11th grade, I think.
Me as well.
Yeah, I think it was like in 11th grade when I got my own cell phone. It was a piece of crap. It was just like a little cheap ass cell phone.
Mine was like a little Nokia thing. It was flat, had the buttons. You could like pop off the screen.
It was one of those things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one of those, but like the problem is kids don't understand the consequences for their actions. And I'm not talking about just like from a fighting standpoint, like if you say something mouthy and somebody approaches you and hits you in the face, right? That's a consequence.
Yep.
But I'm talking about like actions in the real world. People don't understand the difference between like seeing somebody shoot somebody on the internet versus seeing somebody like shoot somebody in real life. Like there's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? It's like kids don't understand their actions and they don't understand the consequences behind their actions. And that's, I feel like, the big problem. So like whenever I was coaching high school, my whole thing is everybody gets treated fairly.
Right.
I don't care if you're a star athlete. I don't care if you're the best person on the team. I don't care if you're the worst person on the team. It don't matter to me. I'm not biased at all. I'm like, look, the team gonna be here without you. You can be as great as you want to be. We don't need you. But the other coaches didn't have the same philosophy as I did. I was ready to kick kids off the team left and right. Maybe I'm a hard ass. I don't know.
No, you know what? Look, at my 9-to-5 job, I'm the same way when it comes to being a trainer. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at all.
It's like, I don't want to deal with the bull crap. Like, and you got to understand that there's consequences to your action. If you're late a certain amount of time, if I tell you at the beginning of the season, hey, you got 3 times, Mel, all right? That's a 3, you're gone, okay? And you pushing that line, and I'm like, hey, where you been? It's the 3rd time, right? Okay, next time you're gone. That next time you come in, oh, coach, I had to do this and that. Nope, you got to go.
You got to go. I feel like it's because, you know, talking the talk and walking the walk are 2 different things. If you tell people when it comes to disciplinary action, if you do this, I'm going to do this, and you don't do it, people are going to constantly push you. It's not just in school, but, you know, but that's kind of, and I'm thinking about it, if you have other coaches who don't actually walk the walk, those kids, you're training those kids to think that's the same way in the real world.
Yes.
So,
right.
and it's not like at all, at all, especially if you're a black man and you go in to push people. Oh, Lord,
and that's a whole nother conversation right there. It's like, you know, in the professional world that I'm in, you know, involved as far as like fighting and stuff like that. Like, you know, it was early on, it was predominantly, you know, a white male sport. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then like breaking through, now we have so many different cultures.
Right.
Like not just black or white or Hispanic. Now we have Asian culture. We have, traditional African cultures. We have, Nigeria just hosted their first ever MMA event last year, I believe.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, they just hosted their first ever MMA event, but it took a Nigerian champion to go in and influence the government so that they can host this event in Nigeria, so like stuff like that is like now you're seeing this big push, and like you're seeing like more black people in these roles of like champion, and you're seeing these black people become freaking more coaches and stuff like that, and that's like what I look forward to, because like coming into the sport when there was a couple black dudes here and there, but it's like I wanted to kind of be something more than just like, oh, I don't want to be just looked at as like a black male in the sport. I want to be like looked at as the best.
Right.
So,
I love that.
Yeah. I had to kind of overcome a lot of mental barriers. Nobody ever put any ramifications on me or anything on what I can and couldn't do.
Right.
I just never allowed that. So, but it was just overcoming mental barriers of like never seeing a black man get to this height before. Until now.
Yeah.
Now we see it often, and I love it.
Yeah, because you've been in this. How long have you been in this?
I've been on the mats. I would say I stepped on the mats for wrestling and stuff like that. I've been on the mats for over 10 years now.
That's a long time. That's pretty much a lifestyle right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's a lifestyle.
I'm only 28, so it's been over 10 years. So.
You're still young.
Yeah.
You're still very young, but you've been doing it since really you were the beginning of your adulthood.
Yes.
So it kind of formed you as a man, I feel like.
Did.
I like that. That's awesome.
It helped segue into me into a lot of different avenues of my life. Like I do a lot of mental studying. Like
really?
Yeah, I'm in therapy, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm big into like curing mental like trauma.
I 1,000%. That's a whole other conversation. I was just talking to my husband about that, because when you have trauma from younger or even as adult, and it will inevitably and subconsciously affect things, and you don't realize that. Yeah. And
then with the job that I have, the professional job that I have as far as firefighting, we see so many different things and stuff like that, and there's a lot of traumatic experiences, if you will.
Yeah, I've heard,
And you have to learn to separate, what's your life and what's their life, as far as the patients or the people we go see and stuff like that, because I think that's where people mix the lines. Like when you go on a call and you see like, a kid hurt, severely hurt, it's like you immediately think about your own kids if you have them.
Right.
You're like, oh man, like I'm thinking about my own kids now. I'm gonna go back to the station and call them. But it's like, look, that's work.
Yep.
You have to leave work at work. You can't take work home.
I agree with that. Yeah, especially that kind of occupation. Yeah. Let's talk about that. So what made you want to become, of course, you said you love your city for Warner Robins. But really,
put on for the war.
Wartown. I've been living there for, over 10 years now. It's so long. Y'all are from the West Coast, but
really?
Yeah, time has passed. But I've been living there for over 10 years.
Okay.
So why did you, specifically a firefighter, so what made you think, I want to go ahead and run to burning buildings and rescue people who are at life or death situations?
Well, if you can't tell now, I'm a little bit of a adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
I'm a little crazy, if you will. I like fighting people. I like running into burning buildings. I like shooting a lot of guns. I like doing a lot of crazy stuff. Like that's just how I am. Like I'd like to chase that adrenaline, and I like to conquer my fears too.
I like that. Okay.
So but the funny story about me becoming a firefighter, right? Mm-hmm. So I never planned that. It just kind of happened. Yeah, it never never.
That's like the third fight. You're the third firefighter I've interviewed, and they said the same thing. Like they did. When I was a kid, I didn't think I would be a firefighter.
Nope.
Like it kind of just came to you guys.
Nope. The only memory I have of ever wanting to be a firefighter is when I was younger. I'm actually from South Carolina originally.
Okay.
But we moved to Georgia, Warner Robins, Georgia, a long time ago. But like I remember being a kid and being very young and seeing the firefighters ride around the neighborhood with the Santa Claus costume on and hand out candy canes during Christmas.
Right.
That's the only recollection I have of like, man, I want to do that when I'm older. Like that's the earliest memory I have of like wanting to become a firefighter, and then I kind of just pushed it to the side and never really like thought about it again.
Yeah.
But I was working at Dairy Queen.
DQ.
Yeah, I was over there for a while, Yeah, that was a fun job.
Blizzards, I love their blizzards.
Yeah.
Side to side, I love their blizzards.
Oh, I've made every single combination of a blizzard you could ever imagine.
Really?
I've put bacon in a blizzard.
I'm sorry, what?
Bacon cheesecake blizzard. Hear me out. Bacon cheesecake. It was amazing. All right.
I didn't know that was okay.
I just made it up. We didn't like. There's no specific recipe. We just kind of threw stuff in there, right?
I may try that one day.
Nerds.
Okay.
You throw nerds in there too.
Okay.
Like Reese's Pieces. You throw all kind of stuff in there. You throw whatever you want in a blizzard. You just gotta be able to blend the shit up. So.
You do. I haven't had one in so long, man. That's a whole. I used to eat blizzards all the time, man. It's been a while since I had.
Yeah, I don't even really eat ice cream like that anymore. But working at Dairy Queen, working at Dairy Queen. I was working there, and I take my job, like any job I have, I take it very seriously.
Right.
Like I don't ever go to jobs and be like, oh man, I'm just gonna half-ass it today. I'm like, no, I'm giving it 100% every single day. Whether I'm mopping the floor, whether I'm scraping the toilet, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I try to give it 100%. And working at Dairy Queen, I was, very, very professional with my job. Like I took it very seriously. I even became a manager and all that stuff.
Okay.
And the owner trusted me a lot. So. But the firefighters were coming there at night around closing time, like whenever we locked the doors. They were coming there every single time, like when we locked the doors. Well, you can't drive a fire truck through a drive-through.
Very true.
So I would always let them in.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I would be like, man, I understand y'all can't drive through the drive-through.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock at night. Y'all in the gear, sweaty and stuff. I was
You're
like,
hungry.
Yeah, they're hungry. They want something to eat. So I would always let them in. I would take the order personally, and I would always make sure it was to the T every single time. It got to the point where I was memorizing some of the orders and stuff like that too. Yeah, they were coming in, and I'd be like, okay, you want this, and this, boom, 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 and I go make everything myself, get them taken care of, get them out of there, right? So this goes on for a little while, whatever, and then one day, one of the chiefs comes up to me. He was a shift commander. And I didn't know at the time. I just thought he was a regular old Joe Schmo because he had a T-shirt on, a firefighter T-shirt on. Him and another guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you ever think about becoming a firefighter? And I was like, no, not really. And I was being honest with him. He was like, man, you should really consider the job. He's like, look, you work 24 hours. You're off for 48 hours. He's like, you get holidays. You get paid holidays. You get paid annual days. You get paid sick leave. Like, you'll basically never be off without getting paid.
That's
he was
awesome.
like, and if you're off for one day, that turns into 5 days because you only work every third day. Oh. And I was like doing the math, and I was like, that's pretty awesome. I was like, I was like, and I was still fighting at the time. I was fighting at the time or whatever, and I was like, so what about working out and stuff like that? He's like, oh man, every station has a gym. So you could work out and all that stuff. Every question I was asking, he was combating it and basically making the pot sweeter for me.
Right.
So I'm like thinking, and I'm like, this job sounds really.
It's your lifestyle.
It's a little too good to be true. I'm like, how much you guys get paid? Like, he's like, oh, we start at like 30-something thousand or whatever. And I was like working at Dairy Queen. And I was like, y'all starting at 30-something thousand? I'm like, that's like triple my pay.
Yeah.
I'm like, sign me up. He's like, all right. He's like, you got a high school diploma? I'm like, yes. You got a license? I'm like, yes. He's like, go down to City Hall this day, put in an application, and then go from there. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, thank you guys. Never got their name or nothing, me being stupid.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man, cool. This is a job opportunity.
Yeah.
I went and applied. Man, that was the best decision I ever made.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this is literally one of the greatest jobs in the world. I love it so much. Like, I'm going to do it until I retire. Like, I'm going to retire, being a firefighter and stuff. But
that is awesome.
Yeah, when I applied, I got the job. I had a couple of the guys that would come through the drive-thru. They were like cheering me on, rooting for me to, because it's a couple steps you have to go through, a bunch of processes you have to go through before you actually get hired. Yeah. So they would help me out, give me advice and tips and stuff like that. And they called me DQ at first because I worked at Dairy Queen. Yeah, so DQ. They called me DQ and stuff like that, and that was my name up until I got on, and then they changed.
That's better than LL or whatever I just
it was just a name. I don't know.
I like it though.
But yeah, so that was my story of becoming a firefighter, and I love it. I did that 7 years ago.
That's awesome. Look at that. So I like how you mentioned that you treated everybody respectfully and equal, and the person who you thought was just a regular Joe Schmo was like, oh no, I see something in you. Yes. That's what I try to tell people about everybody.
Yep.
Treat everybody equal because you never know who's in the room.
That's my philosophy. I've tried to teach that to all my family members, especially my younger brother. Like, I always try to teach them, like, look, you treat everybody equal. You treat everybody with respect until they give you a reason not to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter if they're really high ranking or if they're really low ranking. The homeless guy that you might overlook and step over, could be the guy that could be running your future job 3 years from now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, the way that the world works is just like, you want to treat everybody good.
I feel that the world is so funny, y'all. Like, I've met people who, like you said, in lower positions, but now they have something that I need as a resource, possibly.
Yep.
And you never know in the future. It may not be a job, but it just may be something in a circumstance where you're like, maybe you're broke down,
Yep.
and you treated them like shit,
Yep.
and they're driving past you, and
Yep.
they're like, I ain't helping you in your middle of
And they
nowhere.
might splash you with a little water.
Yes.
You do one of them.
Yes, exactly.
And you don't do it to necessarily reap any benefits. You do it out of the kindness of your heart because you genuinely want to help people. You don't actually, oh man, I'm going to help this person because hopefully they look out for me later on. No, that's not how this works. You treat people with respect. You treat people equal. And then the universe or God or whoever you believe in pays you back full. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's how I feel about it. And that's literally what I live by is like, the world is going to pay me back for all the good things that I do.
It does,
and that's what I stand on. I've coached MMA and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that for a long time. So I come in contact with hundreds and hundreds of people, like on a regular basis, right?
Right.
And on my job too, right? I've come in contact with over thousands of people,
Right.
And the white belt walking in the first day of jiu-jitsu class, I might see that guy a couple times and he may never come back. But if I go up to him, hey man, what's your name? How you doing? Hey, I'm glad you're here today. If you need any help, just let me know. My name is Lathon. I'll be teaching today. Mm-hmm. That little piece right there will go a long way because I've ran into people later on in life. I'm talking about 3-4 years later. Mm-hmm. And I've run into them at an event or something. They're like, hey Lathon. And I'm like, I know you, man.
Yeah,
they're like, man, you taught me jiu-jitsu 3 years ago. And I was like, oh man, how's everything been? Just chopping up with them. Well, man, I'm doing good. I would like to sponsor you for a fight. I know you got a fight coming up because I follow you on Instagram. I'd like to sponsor you for a fight.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Andreas, Make That Radio Show. And yeah, hey, Make That Radio Show can get stars now. So go ahead and some stars.
All right, so we're going to start back in with the part where, so talk about how doing things not just for getting something out of it, basically.
So yeah, like, seeing somebody one time, a couple times maybe in an atmosphere where I'm the superior and they're a new person, right?
Right.
And I say superior, I don't mean to rule over anybody. I'm just talking about superiority and rank and stuff like that.
Right,
Because
right.
I am pretty high ranked in jiu-jitsu or whatever.
Really?
So
Okay.
because I've been doing it for a long time now. It's not like I ain't even got to be, I feel like I'm not even really that good at it. I'm just like, I've just been doing it for a long time,
No, well, I mean, they say practice makes perfect.
Yes,
So, the longer you do it, even if you're just not as good, you're going to get good.
Exactly, right? You accidentally get good at it. But like, me being the superior and then being like a new person, and then like me going into a different atmosphere where the roles switch, boom, I get treated differently because I was nice to that person. If they walked in their first day and I treated them like crap, they don't remember that.
That's an impression. No, I've learned that as well.
Yeah.
Especially when you're superior, as you say, people tend to have their first impression of you tends to weigh heavy because sometimes they're nervous.
Yes.
And if you act like someone who is like gaudy, they're not going to return.
Exactly, and that's what I try not to ever have. Like, and that's the biggest thing with fighting is this is an ego-driven sport. This is the most ego-driven sport because there's nothing more primitive than fighting another person. Mm-hmm. Fighting is older than any other sport that you can imagine because fighting didn't start out as a sport. It was a way of life.
Right.
There was fire, food, and fighting.
You need to get your territory and all that.
Exactly.
Stuff. Yeah.
Exactly, because it's like back in the caveman days and stuff like that. If you got shelter, you know what I'm saying, people gonna try to come take it. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
you got a woman.
You got a woman. They want to try to take your woman.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta fight for what's mine. So you had to learn how to defend yourself and fight for that. So fighting is age old. You know what I'm saying? It's old as dirt. So it's one of the things that's the most primitive thing, and that's why the egos involved in this sport is so high because everybody thinks they can fight.
Oh God! I wish Dante were here because he said the same thing. And he'd be looking like, oh god, these people talk the most ish on Facebook.
Yes.
But if you approach them, they're gonna go like, oh, you know, where's my 50 homies?
Yes.
Where's my 50 homies?
Yeah, they need some backup.
Yes.
Like, and it's like, dude, no, man. Like, I'm talking about a one-on-one.
Right.
Like, let's see what you really got.
Right, yes.
You know, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know how explicit you get on this podcast.
Yeah.
But there's two things that men think they're really good at.
Oh yeah.
And fighting is one of them.
Yeah.
And I think we know the other one.
And
you know?
sometimes it depends on the men. They're not.
Yeah. So,
you know.
but fighting is the one thing where it's like, yeah, man, I know I can, I can handle my own and stuff like that. And then half the time these dudes can't.
No.
They can't even throw a proper punch.
They can't. It's
punchy
punchy to me.
Yeah, it is.
Most of I've seen it so many times. They're like, okay, well, let's pull up, but then when you pull up, they got like 50 dudes behind them.
Yeah.
Like, no, I said you and me, homie.
Yeah,
You and me,
yeah.
not these. I don't got no. You.
I was talking about you, bro.
Yeah.
And like me as a fighter now, like the more that I know about this sport and the more I know about fighting and I understand about the world, the less I fight.
Really?
I do not street fight. Like,
Why would you say you don't do it? The more, since you're getting more mature, why would you say it's not as valuable to you?
because one, I don't want to go to jail. Because I mean, like, it. There's no such thing as like me being more registered or more dangerous than anybody's. Me being more registered or more dangerous than anybody else. If me and you get into a fight, he goes.
Yes. Oh my God, y'all. We had like a little bit of an emergency. I thought there was like a little tornado coming through Macon. We're gonna get back into it. He was talking about fighting and egos. Let's go back into it.
So just to sum everything up, what I think about the male ego and just the ego in general. The ego is healthy, but it's also very unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? It's something.
I'm so sorry. We're just gonna keep rolling. They're gonna. Hey, Perry, you there?
Hello?
Hey, you there?
No, I ain't there. I'm on the way. I had to get my clothes together and shit. I'm on
It's-
the way right now. I'll be there in like 10 minutes.
No, it's okay. Take your time. I'm literally still interviewing the dude I have at 3. Plus it's like a lot of wind and rain. I don't know what's going on right now, so I may be there a little bit late because I still gotta pack up and drive through this wind. I don't know if it's like a tornado passing through.
Okay, so what time will you be at Jacoba's spot?
Probably, what time is it now? Let me see, 4:03. Probably like 4:20 at the latest.
Alright, cool.
All right, well, I'll see you there. Sorry for being late.
Alright, cool.
Okay, bye. It's still rolling.
All right, shoot, let's keep it going then.
Okay.
All right, so the ego. The ego is a healthy thing, but it's also a very unhealthy thing. I feel like the ego keeps you honest, especially when you get your ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you feel the lowest person on earth. There is no worse feeling than losing a fight. I guarantee it. There is nothing else on this planet that feels worse than that. It feels like you are the smallest person on earth, and it feels like you are incapable of doing anything else. It will play on your psyche, it will play on your physical, it will play on your emotional and everything. Like, it will really like destroy you if you let it, especially if you don't know how to take a loss, and I've had to learn over and over. I got wins and I got losses too, but losses turns into lessons. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I use my losses as. They become lessons, and that's why my ego is neutralized where it's at. I'm a very competitive person. Don't get me wrong.
I can see that. Yeah.
I love winning.
I can see it. Yeah.
I love it. I don't like.
Or else
losing
you wouldn't keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love winning, but I know how to take an L.
Right.
But my ego has been beat down to where I know, like, all right. You ain't the best motherfucker on earth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, most people think, like, man, I'm the baddest on the planet. Like, no, you're not that guy, There's always a bigger dog out there. You know what I'm saying?
There is, and that's
Always a
what
bigger dog.
keeps you, I feel like, striving to keep.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the male ego. I like how you mentioned that because a lot of men don't like to admit that it's a driving factor for you guys, especially when it comes to this sport.
Yeah.
When it comes to fighting, it keeps you going forward.
For
but
sure.
also it can debilitate you guys if you don't win, especially
Yes.
when you are in front of everybody.
Yep.
And you get your ass kicked.
Yes.
You get your ass kicked. You have to like reconvene. Try to get back out there and show people who like I knew they weren't great.
Yeah. You know what's worse than the male ego in fighting?
What?
Female ego in fighting. I'm telling you, women. I don't know what it is about women that fight, but they are the most competitive people I have.
They
ever
are.
met.
I've seen them fight. I'm not gonna get in a fight with a woman.
I'm talking about at everything. Like I know female fighters, and like they in every aspect of life they want to win.
Right.
It's their whole thing. Like they have this ego that just pushes them to become like something greater. And also, you know, I don't want to dive too deep into a psychiatric thing or anything like that.
Yeah,
These are all just my own opinions. But like, you know, women are constantly being compared to men in every aspect, right? Especially in a physical aspect of like fighting. When we're talking about something like important as fighting, women are constantly being compared to men. Maybe not in the way of like, oh, Mel, like you and so and so, y'all go against each other. Let's see who's better. It's like no, just in general, women are being compared to men because fighting is a male dominated sport.
It is, yeah.
So when women came into fighting, it's like, oh, we got something to prove. So they have that other chip on their shoulder too, where it's like, I got something to prove. I got to prove I'm better than every man in this motherfucker. And I know women that will. I'm telling you, I know some badass chicks.
Yeah,
and
I believe it.
and they push hard, they fight hard, they train hard, they get after it, but their egos are so big it couldn't even fill up this room. Like, or it would fill up this room and then some.
I believe it. I believe it. I mean, I feel like it's overcompensation because probably because men are saying you don't even need to be here in the first place. It isn't for you.
Yep.
So you gotta really, really show. Oh, I could do it and more.
Yep.
But then again, I could see that ego thing happening. Where you're like it becomes a little bit out of control.
Yeah, it can. It can get out of control. It can, and that's where it becomes unhealthy. Where you like where you think you're larger than life and you have this God complex, and then you get beat or you lose or whatever. Somebody calling me right now.
It's all good. We're just gonna continue. We're gonna continue.
But you have this God complex, and you know what I'm saying. You have to get beat down to understand that I'm just a human. I'm just a man. I'm just a man or a person.
No, I like that. I feel like you're a very humble fighter. When I talk to different ones, when it comes to fighting, most people just think about the fight part of it. But when you also have to check yourself spiritually to be able to continue, because when those L's come in, you got to reconvene with yourself and say, okay, am I really built for this type of thing?
I've been through I've been through a lot of things as far as like in the fighting world than a lot of people. A lot of people enjoy the highs and the wins and stuff like that. I've had string of losses. It's just I'm not shy about it. I don't hide it or whatever. I had like a string of losses and stuff, and I had to really go back and reconfigure who I was.
Right.
And that right there will change you into somebody for the better if you let it, or it can break you down and make you somebody worse.
Yep.
And I've had to go back and redo that, and that's why I'm the person I am today. I don't have this huge ego that I feel like I'm better than everybody, because I know I'm not. I know people that have beaten me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can be beat. I know I can. So it's like, why would I sit here and act like I can't?
You're right.
I'm proud of myself, and I have pride, and I have this ego that I'm like, I'm going to be better than everybody, and I want to be. I'm going to work my ass off to get where I need to be. But I know there's a bigger dog in the yard at any moment in time.
So still keep yourself humble.
Exactly. I check myself every single day.
I like that. That's how I feel about life as well. Give yourself your accolades, but still check yourself.
Exactly.
Someone will check you.
Exactly.
I promise you.
That's for sure.
I love that. So what's some advice you give someone who's saying, hey, I want to get into fighting, but I don't even know the first step? Like, what's some advice you give someone who's watching this?
First thing, as far as getting into fighting, is you have to understand that if you're trying to do MMA, it's probably going to be a while before you fight. Okay? And if you're trying to do boxing, same thing, right? You probably won't, fight, within your first month or two.
No,
or
not even a year, probably.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could be a year, depending on the type of athlete you are. It could be 6 months, you know? But my advice, and this right here goes into everything, is first step is first. Join a gym. Find a place to train. Right? Whether you want to do boxing, whether you want to do MMA, whether you want to do whatever. Find a gym, find a place to train, and find somewhere that's legitimate. That's the first step.
Right.
Second step, do the work. Do the work. That's the most important thing.
Do the work.
Anytime you step into any world or realm or whatever, there's going to be challenges, but you have to work through those challenges. Do the work. Don't try to take any shortcuts.
Because it'll show when you get on the mat,
later.
or mat, or the ring, whatever you're on. Yeah.
It will show later, and then you will be highly embarrassed. Do the work. Don't talk about the shit, just do it. You can talk about, oh, I want to be a fighter and I'm trying to train to become this bad motherfucker. You can talk all day, but if you're in the gym getting your ass kicked, how bad you really want this? You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Do the work. That's it. Find the gym, do the work. That's it.
Do the work, find the gym, y'all. Do the work, find the gym. Okay, so what if someone's watching you? Like, oh my God, he's awesome. I want him to train me. How can they contact you?
Well, you can contact me on Instagram. My Instagram is its_Lathon, Lathon. I do private lessons, but I try to keep it to a minimum. I'm available for maybe like a couple more clients, so I'm just kind of trying to.
He's
keep
hot,
it low.
y'all. He's hot. He's not available all the time.
I'm trying to keep it to a minimum because I do have a life outside of fighting. My life is lived in very split up sections. I got a lot of shit going on.
I understand. I understand. Yeah.
Another thing, I'm building a school bus. I'm building a school.
What?
Yeah, I'm building a schoolie. So
Okay.
that's like my pride and joy right now. I'm working on that.
Okay.
It's you can follow me on Instagram at my schoolie page at _exit59.
Exit 59.
Yes, that's my schoolie. Watch my journey. It's going to be a little while before I get it finished, but that's like my pride and joy right now. That's what I'm working on. So.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
Okay, okay. Well, before we close out, do you want to leave any inspirational words or quotes or something that you want to tell the audience to, keep on going?
I got a few quotes that I like to live by, but one thing I'll just say is just be courteous, work hard, and just enjoy your life because it's the only life you got.
I love it.
That's
yes,
it.
that's as simple, but it's straight to the point, and it really is needed though. Be courteous,
Work hard,
and
enjoy your life.
enjoy your life, y'all.
That's it.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much
Hey,
for coming
I appreciate
on my
it.
little show. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all support the homie.
Yes.
He's a very, very accomplished fighter, y'all. You need to look at his profile. You're gonna see a picture of him like this, looking super serious, like he's gonna beat your ass, I was like, oh my God, but you're very cool dude.
I
You're very
appreciate
cool
it. I
dude.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
most
Thank you.
definitely, most
Thank you.
definitely. You guys, thank you so much for tuning to In the Mix with Mel with Mr. Lathon Lawson. I'm trying to think of a nickname. We're gonna think of it. It'll come eventually. I don't know.
That's the hardest part. I got like Law is the one that most people call me, and then that's about it.
We'll call you Law. Well, thank you, Law, for being on here, you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. But until next time, you guys, peace out.